Isn't it interesting how we all see things differently, and we can all be hearing the same thing, but our perspectives about it can be totally different. We all see things in the way that we want to see them. And everyone's perspective is always different. Some see things in black and white. Some see things in full color. Some see things at a distance. And some up close. Our perspectives are all different. Some think about something as bad. Some think of that same thing as good. Others may not even think about that thing at all. They may just see it. But the way that we see it is all up to us. And to me, I've heard many times that we as people are also perceived differently by everyone. Not everyone sees us the same. Not everyone feels the same about us. Not everyone can feel the same about us. Another interesting thing that I wanted to say about this is that I've heard that it seems that your relatives, because they're so close to you and they see you like this, they see you up close all the time. You're so close to them that they may not see you or your full qualities or everything you have to offer because they're too close. It's actually those who are standing from a distance and seeing what you're doing and seeing you from afar that can appreciate you more and what you do and your capabilities and who you are. Sometimes more than your own relatives, because your own relatives are too close to notice. And that may not be a good thing. You need to step away sometimes from your relatives so they can appreciate who you are and really get to see. They say that sometimes people don't appreciate what they have until it's not around. And sometimes we spend too much time around our family and our relatives that we don't allow them to be themselves. And we want to be around them so much because we want to enjoy their company, but we may overwhelm them with who we are because they see us every day, and they may think that they already know what we're up to, or they may be able to predict what we're up to, when it's not like that, because we're all different all the time. We always change. So it's really good to really get away from our family members every so often so that we're not so boring to one another. We can become boring to one another and predictable. And we should be surprising and wonderful. And we should be exciting around people. Because that's just the way that we are. And I would love to be around people who I'm excited to be around and to know what they're up to, because they're always up to something different. And maybe by being around people who are not so close to me, my relatives, I can maybe be able to explore some different things with people that don't know me so much. I don't know if that made sense or not, but anyway, we all see things differently, and we all see people differently, and we all sense people's vibes and we sense the way people are and their characteristics, even if our eyes are closed. Even if our eyes are closed, we can feel. But not many of us do that. Many of us just want to see. Many of us just want to recognize people for what they look like. And they may not even know who the person really is, except for what they look like. When there's so much more than the outside. Because this is not my body. I have a body. This is not my face. I'm not my face. I'm not my body. I have a face. I have a body. But I'm not my face. I'm not my body. But they do belong to me. But they're not exactly everything that I am. There's so much more to us. And sometimes we try to make out the answers to questions that I'm not sure if they even matter. They're of non-importance. They're just not worth entertaining. It's better to just stay in silence. And if we do have questions and we feel like they are important or we do need answers, trust and believe. The answers will come to us. We should learn to love silence. It can teach us so much, and it can help us to just hear ourselves and get those answers that we want. Learning to socialize with people is also good. I need to learn to do that more. I love being around people who can tell a good story, who can keep me entertained by just speaking to me, who can get my imagination going by just using words. I love people who are amazingly amusing, who are talented with their language and their ways of expressing themselves. And I love art. I love music. And I love all forms of expression. And I have to learn to appreciate all expression. I've become so accustomed to wanting everything to be sunshiny and bright all the time that when the dark days come my way, I'm just not happy about it. And I want to try and automatically change it. When I have to remember that it's part of the process and part of life too. Those dark, gloomy days are part of life too. Those difficult moments, those sad moments, those heartbreaking moments, those are all part of our life too. And they're also important. And they make us who we are. And they show us who we are. They help us to see what kind of life we're living. And it's good for us to practice recognizing our emotions, and when they're real, important to deal with at the moment, or to recognize if it's an emotion that needs to be dealt with, but maybe not then and there. But taking into consideration because you do want to deal with it. Meaning that sometimes we may have, we may be going through difficult situations, maybe at home with our relatives, with our family members, and then we leave the house, to take care of errands or run errands. And, because we're at home, we're dealing with all kinds of drama with the family members regarding, whatever it is that we may be dealing with. But it's really taking a damper on the way that we feel in our attitudes, when we're at home. So when we go out, our attitude changes. We're around different people. We're in different areas. And so when we're out and about, there may be a situation or an occasion where we may see something, hear something, or see something that reminds us of the situation where we weren't feeling well at home. And it may trigger an emotion and take us back to the moment when we were at home. And we're here, we're at the grocery store, we're taking care of business, and all of a sudden we get triggered and we start feeling, some sort of way, and we forget about, what's on our grocery list because we're focused on, that emotion, that feeling, that thought, that sight, whatever it was that we saw or heard or whatever that took us back to that ugly feeling. And that emotions just got the best of us. So it's good for us to recognize when we should be dealing with those emotions, and we want to be able to sit with those emotions and deal with them. But when we're taking care of business, when we're out dealing with, in life's daily routines, we have to know how to have self-control. We have to know how to regulate ourselves, how to reprogram ourselves and control our thoughts to where we can reprogram our mind to refocus and get back to the things that we need to do. It's really important that we have control over our minds and not allow our minds and our thoughts to have control over us. Because it's well known that what we think, we feel, and after we feel it, we act on it. So if we're thinking something that triggers a bad feeling, it may want to, we may want to cry. We may want to just stop what we're doing and just leave everything there and go home and just forget about it. But like I said, it's really important to recognize our emotions and when they're important to deal with. When they're important. Maybe when we go home, we can remember the situation and we can, think about, that situation and try and deal with it. But what I'm saying is, when we do recognize that that's happening and we're out in public and we don't want to feel that way, but we have been triggered by something, it's really important for us to remember that our feelings are important and that they are valid, but that we are stronger than we think. We are stronger than we know. And when we can self-regulate and bring our emotions back and check ourselves, and we can bring our emotions, regulate our emotions and focus and bring ourselves back to those important things that we are doing, taking care of our business, then we can practice. Put it into practice. Once we start doing that on a regular basis, if that is continuously happening, then we should learn, or we should want to practice self-regulating so that when they do happen, we'll be able to catch it faster and we won't go into those little funks. We won't go into those little funks that'll keep us there and will make us, put everything back or leave the basket without, because we're too focused on what's going on the trigger. Oh, I can't even do this anymore. Sometimes it's gotten to that point. It's gone to that point for me sometimes where I had done that before, in my life, where I had let the emotions or whatever it is that I was going through get the best of me. Whether it be at the store or it was dealing, I was out in public and all of a sudden something triggered an emotion and it wasn't just, an emotion, just a little emotion. It's been something, big, usually something really big that I've been dealing with at the moment, death of a family member or maybe, something really drastic that happened at home, when it came to my family members and, something triggered that ugly emotion or, whatever it is. But I know that during those times it's because I had gone through something really big with someone or, was dealing with something at home. But, it can get really terrible, you guys, where if we're not focused on what's going on in our emotions, then it can really get the best of us. But what we have to do is, practice more to be in that state of elevation to where we can self-regulate by thinking about the things that are important. In other words, the more we practice being in an elevation of positivity, when we can actually bring our minds and our thoughts and our feelings to an elevation of love, and we can practice it, the more we practice that and the more gratitude that we have for our life, it's easier to practice and to come back and to fix regulate our minds and to fix our way of thinking when it's not thinking right. And it takes practice. I've been practicing for such a long time that I've noticed such big changes, huge changes in my life, where I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. I'm just very grateful that I've been able to practice these things. And I know that at the moment, these triggers haven't felt, the best. But I've also noticed that the more I've been acknowledging these feelings and my emotions, and the more that I know that I have control over them, well, the faster that I can get myself out of a funk or out of a trigger. I can stop it. I can check it. I'd be like, oh, yeah. And then I'll start, no, not right now. You need to back it up, because you know what? I got something to do. Yes, you're important. I love you, but I'll talk to you later. I'll deal with you later, okay? And that's how you deal with it, with love. You deal with it with love, and you say, okay, I understand. You're trying to take care of me. You want me to feel better. You want me to just deal with this right now. But you know what? No, not right now. I got this. And thank you for trying to help me. But you know what? I'll talk to you later. All right. And so that's how we have to talk to our emotions and regulate. But I've noticed that I've come back so much faster. And I'm just so happy to be able to do that because it wasn't like that before. I used to stay in funks. It could take me a day, until I went to sleep and got out of it, or hours, and that's just not good. It's not good for our hearts. It's not good for our health. It's not good for our relationships. It's not good for us. It's not good for our mental health. It's not good for our physical health, so really knowing how to deal with your emotions and how to self-regulate and how to keep yourself in the positive state of mind more often will really help. And the way that we see things, they may not always be our life or life around us, or things that are going on may not always be positive. But just know that things do get better. Things do get better. And they may not look like if they're going to get better, but it's really how you see them. And, when something is too close to you, you just can't appreciate it. You have to learn to step back. Maybe, I'm not sure if anybody can resonate with this thought, but I just thought I'd put it out there because it's a thought that I've been dealing with, and, it's not for everyone. If it's for you, peace. May God bless you. Take care of yourself, and, be strong. Be strong, and just know that we all have a different way of thinking, our perspective with our family members, with ourselves, with our friends, with, people who see us on a daily basis. They're not going to see things the same way that we do. And it's totally okay. Be different. Learn to stand out. Learn to be yourself. Learn to be your authentic self. Learn to say what you want to say. Learn to know that your feelings are valid. Learn to know that your words are valid, that your thoughts are valid, that your life is valid, that you're valid, that you're wonderful, that you're amazing, that you're beautiful, and that you're worth living every single day and every single moment. And I wish you happier days, happier moments, more love, more hugs, more kisses. Mwah. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Love yourself more. Do more things for yourself that make you smile. Take care of yourself. Express yourself. Hug yourself if you can. Hug yourself. Give yourself a wonderful big hug. And take care of yourself. Love yourself. Love one another. Peace out. Hasta la vista, baby. I will talk to you soon. Late.